It takes a village, because for all means for all. Together we'll break down any wall. Linked in love, we won't disarm. We're uniting the grassroots army strong. So press play, feel the spark. This is where the movement starts. It takes a village and we're the proof. Truth in action, raising the roof. It takes a village. It takes a village. We rise together, louder than fear. One voice from fire, crystal clear. From every banner, every street, unity moves on dancing feet.
So that song was called Who Will Stand With Us by the Dropkick Murphys, and you guys should definitely check them out. They are amazing. As you wish. Kayla, you have been kicked. I have kicked you. Dropped you down. All right, welcome, ladies and gents, and everyone in between to It Takes a Village, where we sit down with candidates from all over the country to discuss a wide range of issues brought by you, the viewer. I am your charming and furious host, Political Jess, and I'm not going anywhere. So, speaking of our next guest tonight, he comes to us as, fellow neighbor in the great state of Alabama. Ladies and gents, please welcome Jeremy Devito. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let me start out. And Alabama Progress also on the line. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't know if you have time to set up your background, but we will get to your portion of the show in about 35 minutes or so. So if you want to hang tight, chime in when you want. Totally cool. I'm down. I'm super bendy. Whatever. Okay. So the first question I ask every candidate that steps into our humble little postage stamp of a platform is I ask them, you have heard of the straw that breaks the camel's back. We are not being hit with straws. We are being hit with the whole damn camel. The whole damn camel, constantly, in the face, all the time, repeatedly. It's very uncomfortable. So what was the camel that broke your back, that inspired you to run for office? And if you could give us sort of a little glimpse into who you hope to represent.
Okay, so the camel that broke the straws back here for me would be the immigration policy. I look at that as this mass deportation effort is a gateway rug for fascism. Yeah,
Yes.
rugs. We're selling rugs.
TikTok language. We love the TikTok shop.
We love the TikTok shop. It's great. I bought some Crocs from there.
Love it.
And I'm not ashamed to admit that. But that was the moment. I have a lot of friends who are first or second generation Americans, and their families, some of them are not documented. I always saw this as the gateway to fascism. I always learned of it as a constitutional violation, and because I'm a veteran, I took an oath to the Constitution, and I just said that was it. I can't go any further. I cannot bend anymore. And it turns out that was exactly what's happening here. They're using it to justify all sorts of things, and the problem is at the top. It's right. It's in Congress. The problem is not just the president. It's Congress. It's our democracy, and that's what I've decided is, as a veteran, I need to stand up. And it's through apps like TikTok and through people like Victoria, who we talked about before, that I found my courage to do so. That I knew that I wasn't alone. And the people, so that's for your first part of the question. For the second part, where you said the people that I hope to represent, the people that are just like you and me, the working class, the people who, that we all have an impact, a stake in this, but I'm just tired of us being told we can't do. I'm expected to go to work, go to school, live a normal life, and everything will turn out okay. But that's not the case. That's not the scenario for everybody. It's not an equal playing field for everybody, and I'm sick of it as anybody else is. So those are the people that I want to represent. If you're sick of the system and you want to see some real change, you want to see somebody in Congress who's just going to take the congressional paycheck and nothing else. This is me, right here. Jeremy
I
takes
had
the
to
house.
figure out which way I was pointing towards you. But
Yeah.
yes, I looked at your platform and you are a very progressive candidate, especially considering where you're running, which like all of my hats are off to you, sir. But I have to ask you a question that I am going to be asking every candidate that comes onto my platform going forward, because as a progressive Democrat, I'm sure you are familiar with the lip service that we receive. And then, once they get into Congress, suddenly all those things that we held dear and that they ran on, that they were important, they suddenly just kind of go away. So my question is, many voters, especially young, working class, and marginalized communities, feel betrayed by candidates who run on bold progressive platforms but quickly compromise or abandon those values once they are elected. So if you win this seat, you will win this seat, by the way. We're manifesting. We manifest that shit around here. If you win this seat, how will you ensure that your actions match your promises, especially when pressured by party leadership, corporate donors, or political expediency? What's your plan to stay rooted in the movements that got you here?
Great question. So I lean on my military experience here, and the people that know me best who could attest to this. In the military, you have a creed, and I was an NCO, which is more or less just a frontline leader, and you always place the mission first. So it's mission first, team always, and no one ahead of or everyone ahead of myself. And I live by that creed. And it's demonstrated throughout my life, throughout my body of work in my career. I spend my time volunteering. I've never really been about the money. I've got a stake in this as well. I have to be the type of leader that I would expect to vote for. That is the whole purpose of my campaign, is to be the person that you would vote for or that I would vote for. Just someone who's not beholden to those corporate interests. So to say, integrity is my watchword as part of the NCO creed. Integrity is 100% what I'm all about. And accountability. I've spoken about this recently more and more. It's about accountability, and not just me holding others accountable, but hold me accountable at the ballot box. I'm okay with that. And by opening that door and having disagreements about where I said my campaign was going to go and how I said I was going to behave when I got into Congress, if I don't behave that way, hold me accountable. I'm okay with that. Having town halls, being out there with the voters. I've already done that stuff, by the way. I've already had town halls. But being able to communicate directly with the constituency and not just the corporate donors, I've already started doing that. I'm doing the job now that I would expect to do in Congress. So that's how I would address that. Money's never been the motivating factor for me. Never has been, never will be. It's always been put people ahead of me. You got to be the change you want to see in this world. Otherwise, I would be able to get corporate donors and APAC and all those things, which I refuse to do.
That's really refreshing to hear. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's switch gears a little bit, because I want to talk to you about something that is kind of like a fresh, hot Alabama topic, if you will. So let me give you a little preamble here, just in case folks don't know. Soybean farmers in Alabama and across the U.S. are facing a major crisis. China, once the largest buyer of American soybeans, abruptly halted purchases in mid-2025, shifting instead to Brazil and Argentina. This has left U.S. farmers with unsold crops, falling prices, and growing frustration over federal bailouts that appear to benefit foreign competitors more than domestic producers. But America first, right? At the same time, Concerns are rising over Chinese nationals purchasing U.S. farmland, including that in Alabama. While the total acreage is relatively small, critics argue that these acquisitions raise national security and food sovereignty issues. The debate has intensified as China's strategic shift away from the U.S. soybeans highlights vulnerabilities in America's exports-dependent farm economy. So, with that being said, what is your stance on foreign nationals, especially Chinese entities, purchasing farmland in Alabama? Should there be restrictions?
Yeah, and I think that is that's a challenging question because it's not something that I'm completely familiar with, but something that my opponent, Dale Strong, talks about quite a bit. He's actually
Mm-hmm.
introduced legislation, but I think he's done it for nefarious reasons. I think that he wants to confiscate this. He uses it as a national security issue, which
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be, but they're buying up farmland next to, they're using this information as they're buying up farmland that is adjacent or near military installations rather than speaking to the complications that it provides for our farmers.
Yeah.
The big issue is big agriculture when it comes to our farmers. The reason why our farmers, and most of them are small businesses, are struggling so much is because big ag sets the prices as well as I'm going to say it's like the proprietary information, the seed combinations and things like this. I've had someone on my team that's kind of helped me understand the farmer ecosystem, but I can't say that I am really attuned to it. Would I support legislation that limits international uh, purchasing of land and resources of that nature? Yeah, absolutely. I think, but with cause, I think they do it in a xenophobic way, and they do it in a way that benefits big ag. Whereas I would say let's look at it from a smaller market. Small business owners is what I consider. Farmers are small business owners, just like anyone else. If we're going to go into talking about the problems with our supply and our food chain, I think you also need to address the monopoly that is the big agriculture, and who seeks to benefit and consolidate that power even more. So yes, but with a caveat of some nuance on how we actually involve smaller farms and people of that background, and free up that market more.
It's a really important thing it's a really important discussion, especially right now. A lot of farmers are really stressed in Alabama, considering that all of these bailouts are going overseas. They're not going to help them. So it's definitely a top of mind issue. So how do you plan to support soybean and other crop farmers facing market instability due to shifting international trade policies?
Well, you gotta get Congress back involved in tariff policy because I think that's where it's struck again. I mean, we saw this in the first Trump term where he wrecked the soybean market, and that's exactly why it's where it is now. Because China was like, we've been doing this for a while. We're not going to do this again. So China took their cues from the first Trump administration and made these plans ahead of time. It came to roost when Trump came around. So Congress needs to be involved here and put pressure on the White House to stop these tariffs or pass legislation to put tariffs back in the hands of Congress and control those purse strings a little bit more because they're wrecking the soybean industry. But we also need to think about commodities and how we're diversifying those and incentivizing them. Again, it comes back to big ag again. They are the ones that are being profit. They're not feeling the pinch here.
No.
They control the markets, they control the seeds, they control the land, and they lease those to the farmers. So again, I wouldn't want to lose sight of that. It's the
Yeah,
small markets, the small farmers who are really the ones that are hurting from this, and the big ag doesn't feel a pinch from this. So again,
no, they've
bring
been
that.
squeezing
Yeah, they've been
Monsanto
squeezing
and
small
others
farmers.
have been
Yeah, they've been
squeezing them
squeezing small
forever.
farmers for decades. So my address to that would be, let's bring it more focus on those small farmers, and yeah, let's stop this tariff nonsense. Let's bring the Congress, the power of Congress, the power of the purse back to us, and let's be targeted. Because tariffs can work if they're targeted, but they need to be bolstering our economy, not crushing the farmers.
Well, in short term, not like just, forever.
Yeah, exactly.
you know?
Exactly. No.
So let me ask you this. This is not regarding agriculture in Alabama. I would love to know your take on the Republican government shutdown and if you think they plan to come back into session anytime soon.
Well, actually, this impacts my district pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Uh, we've got a huge defense network of spending. A lot of veterans are government employees as well.
Hmm.
First, it's part of the play. Republicans haven't cared about people.
Anyone?
Yeah, they haven't cared about people unless they can use it as a tokenization or a narrative.
Yeah.
So in this district, I spoke with constituents just over the weekend who are Army Corps of Engineers, and they can't speak out about this. So I have to be their voice.
Hmm.
I have to. Like those of us who aren't in the government can't have partisan conversations, especially now when they're looking to fire everyone.
Yeah.
Who do I blame for the shutdown? I blame the Republicans, and that's not because I'm a partisan hack. It's because it is their fault. They're using it to, this last CR. The Democrats negotiated in good faith, and they got reamed. They
Yep.
came back and did like a special markup on the bills,
Oh, yeah.
and they got reamed. So Democrats finally learned their lesson. Sorry, my daughter wants to come in and out.
It's okay.
Democrats finally learned their lesson and found their spine somewhere.
Hmm.
So I would consider it a Republican shutdown, not just because of the partisan, but they could blow up the filibuster right now.
They could fix it right now.
They could do it. And no one has ever talked about that except for Democrats. And their messaging should be, Democrats don't want to talk about the filibuster. Like everybody in Congress is like, oh no, the filibuster. Let's be careful. All of a sudden, everybody's Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. We need to blow the filibuster up. If you can't get a consensus and go by simple majority, you're crushing democracy. Is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're putting minority power. It's beneficial to us now. Do I think they will cave? I think Democrats will eventually. Would I though? I'd say hold out until. Look, I'm a harm reductionist, so you got to really think about in this district the folks who are going to go, how long they're going to go without paychecks, and how long. And, they're already cutting Medicare and Medicaid, and then we're talking about paychecks. It's super tough, but it's not political.
It's the insurance premiums that are
Yeah.
currently skyrocketing. People just don't know how they're
Mhm.
going to afford to pay for that. So, it's just my personal opinion. Democrats, hold the line.
Mhm.
Hold
They
it.
will. I think they will.
It's all we got. I mean, they're already consolidating all of the power to the executive branch,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, if it was me and there were more progressives like me, here's what I think would happen in a progressive Congress, like senators, House progressives, like people who are aligned. We'd be impeaching. We'd be shutting it
mean-
down 100%. Like even if we had a small majority, we'd be holding out for a lot more than that. We'd be defunding ICE. We'd be reinstalling constitutional norms.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
right
No,
now,
none
that's
of this-
that's the difference between a progressive Congress and just a Democratic. Like, okay, we're weak,
Where's
but
your
we're going to try and
spine?
make a stand.
Yeah.
If they had a real spine, they'd be asking for a lot more. But they also, they've given up their leverage over time.
Well, yeah, and decorum. They've
Mhm.
always, the high road has
Yeah, you
just
gotta take the high
absolutely
road.
decimated us. Kels Kabibble wants to know, what is your affiliation or history with the party? How involved are you in local, county, and state party things?
So I'm on the Limestone County Executive Committee. I started before the election in 24. I moved to this county. So let's back up. There's a little story here. I don't know if Kels is from Alabama, but I don't know how much you guys know about Alabama State Democratic Party.
Share it with us. Just so you know, Kels is in war-torn Portland, Oregon.
Oh my God.
Just
How are you surviving? I've got a good friend that lives up there. A really good friend. We should bring her up and just like, hey, give us on the ground reporting.
I know, she's amazing.
So the history of the Alabama Democratic Party. over the last 2 decades has been, that's as much as I'm willing to go back to look at it. But over the last 2 decades, very weak, a lot of infighting, very disorganized at a state level. I moved to Limestone County about 3 years, almost 4 years ago. And I joined in 2024, early 2024, when we saw the second Trump term on the horizon. I said, look, I don't care what people say about Alabama. It's not as red as you think. People are just scared to speak up because they feel like if you're a Democrat, I've always been a vocal Democrat in every circle that I've run in. Even though I've got conservative friends who supported Trump, I've always been that. So I made it a mission to join this local party and try and stand them up. And not only did we do that, I was instrumental in getting we purchased a billboard. We purchased the Kamala Harris, Tim Walz billboard, which I designed, and we put it up right in front of the Republican Party headquarters. Remember, and it was right on our main drag too. So it was, listen, I'm a psychological operations guy in the military. That's basically marketing 101. And I was like, look, we're gonna go ahead and at least do that. So we did that, right?
Yes.
So we expanded the coalition in our small little town, Athens, which is growing. And I'm so proud to be a Limestone Democrat. And I'm still a member today.
Amazing. We definitely need more of that energy. Yes. Yeah, Kels, we need to do something about the panda. The frog's getting all the Portland love, and the panda needs more Portland love. Okay, so when you're looking at footage of Portland, just look out for the panda. Give the panda
right
some
there.
love.
Listen, it's right there. Pandemonium. We can just pandemonium.
Portland
Just
pandemonium.
Make some gear.
We need
Portland
to put that on a
pandemonium.
shirt. We need to put that on a
make
shirt.
some gear.
Kels, you hear it first. We always come up with the greatest ideas on this show. I am telling you, it's amazing. Okay, so let me ask you about economic development and high-tech industry in Alabama. Okay, you might notice, first of all, that my cheeks are red. That's because it is like 95 degrees in my booth. It's so hot in here. So I'm not running a marathon or peeling an orange, but it's hot. It's hot in here. So I'm gonna try to open
I'm
the
in
door.
a small little booth myself.
It's
so
teeny. It's like, yeah, and
it.
it gets very hot in here. So, okay, here's my question. How will you support the continued growth of the Huntsville aerospace and defense sectors, including Redstone Arsenal and NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center?
Yeah, so
Are you opposed to that, or are you okay with it?
it's our biggest industry here. It's no doubt what we are known for. I would like to see us diversify a little bit more, but I think they're in a good place. I don't think they're struggling for business with the government at this point. As a matter of fact, my opponent Dale Strong continues to try and introduce the only piece of legislation that I think that he's ever written, but I know it's the one that he's submitted twice, is to allow them to build. It's called the Spaceport Act, and he wants them to be able to build basically infrastructure that no one's really asking for, and get it paid for almost up to 100% from the Secretary of Treasury, Transportation. Sorry. It's clear to me. I'm very skeptical, right? Like the defense industry here is strong. Science is strong. I think you can bolster that by just focusing more on the educational path. I think you need to strengthen the NASA path because they've actually undermined NASA, and they've started privatizing these things and outsourcing them, and it's undermined them. And it's also the risk there is it's going towards privatization. Yeah. And the risk there is the accountability piece. Private corporations don't have as much to be accountable for when it comes to like these big programs like putting people on the moon or going to Mars. If you really believe in space travel, I don't think you really want Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk sending, like, literally astronauts are some of the best people that we have. They're the brightest. They're the most like psychologically like sound people that we have as a country. You don't really want somebody who wants to move fast and break things building these rockets. So I would say diversify, because once the defense industry goes, and there is a bubble, what are we going to be left with?
Yeah.
So I would like to see us apply. My goal would be, I think they're doing fine. You don't have to bolster them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting the lion's share of the economic interest in this area. I think that you sustain or you diversify their effects into other, applicable areas.
That's fair. So I take it then that you would support federal investment in space exploration and missile defense
Absolutely.
programs from Alabama then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have said that up front, but yeah, that's
No, it's okay. It was
yeah,
my
the
next
missile defense thing.
question.
I mean, you can use that as a great example of defense spending, but without having to schmurder, and
Mm-hmm.
use it for good. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I'm
And
a
we're
big
really
fan
good at
of
doing that.
I'm a big
Yeah.
fan of using things for good, you
But
know.
where I get annoyed is it becomes a like this Golden Dome project that they're talking about.
Yeah.
That's a pork project. That is all that is. And that's what I mean when I'm talking about like defense spending. Like it needs to be smarter. This is clearly just another one of those endless projects that people are going to dump money into that the average person will never benefit from.
Yeah. Yeah. Black Mirror Night. This is Jeremy Devito. He's running in Alabama. Right there, District number 5. Yes. So, explain to me more about what you, because a lot of people aren't familiar with the term pork project. So, can you explain what that means
Sure, it's
in layman's terms?
sure. I guess the way I can describe it would be a
With
project that
extra bacon on the pizza.
essentially it's the lobbyists. They pay for this stuff to be, they get in someone's ear and they're like, hey, we really need this. It's going to be great for our company. But the taxpayer didn't ask for this. There's no credible threat that says that we should have this.
Mm-hmm.
But it does benefit the wealthiest donors for people in my district, which is heavily comprised of defense spending, missile and space, rocket. It's called Rocket City. Huntsville's Rocket City. We've got the second per capita largest engineering hub when it comes to mechanical and rocket engineering. So in the country. So yeah, that's what a pork project is. It's like just it's an idea that has merit. We can build it. I have no doubt we could build it, but there's not really a practical use for it other than just enriching someone. There will be some secondary and tertiary findings that come from it, but we need to be doing healthcare. We need to be looking at things that people really want to see their money spent on, not the Golden Dome.
That's fair. That was gonna be my next question because I know you have a pretty strong platform about you have a pretty strong platform on healthcare, and you have a really strong platform on women's health care as well. So I want to give you the space to talk about that, um, and how you would expand access to the people in your district.
Absolutely. So healthcare access is actually pretty critical here. Hospitals are closing. A lot of Alabamians live, if they have to get emergency care in this district, especially, a 45-minute drive to the hospital. A lot of people, if you don't live within the Huntsville Met area or in one of these, and we have, I don't know if you've driven through Alabama, but we got a ton of small towns,
Mm-hmm.
1,000, 2,000 people, even this district. So healthcare is the most important issue on the ballot, has been for a long time. Since before I could even vote, I remember people talking about healthcare as an issue.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense to me why we are the richest, wealthiest nation in the history of the world that we cannot provide socialized healthcare for our people as a right. And when I talk about healthcare, I often bring up women's healthcare, like you were saying, because you cannot have the healthcare for all conversation without having the AB conversation. And I don't know if that's TikTok still friendly, but yeah,
Yeah.
drop a question in the comments. But yeah, it's you can't have that conversation, healthcare for all, if you're not going to have a serious conversation about AB. And so I'm very staunchly in support of federalizing access to AB. I think it's a basic human right, and it's discrimination. It's sexual
Yeah.
discrimination to pass laws that only affect women. Plain and simple. That's what Roe v. Wade, that's where Roe v. Wade was essentially settled. It was a discrimination suit. And
Yeah.
you can talk about the emotional and religious aspects of it, but we're not a we have church and state separation for a reason. So
Supposedly. They're putting the
yeah,
10 Commandments in my public school
I mean,
as
I'm
we
making
speak.
it a
So,
hard line. I'm making it a hard line in my campaign to join the Progressive Caucus, who promotes healthcare for all as the number one pillar of something that we can pass, and we could do that in 2 years.
yeah,
We could have it passed in 2 years, and we could have it implemented within 4 years. That's the plan. So,
that would be amazing. JB,
mhm.
before I let you ask your question, thank you for coming up, by the way. I have a question from Blue Horizon who says, I live in the ocean. Pollution causes major issues with storms, etc. How do you feel re clean energy?
How do I feel that we clean energy, or how do I feel
About
about
clean energy.
it's the future. It's absolutely the future. And we talked about the tech industry. Like, why couldn't we diversify our science and our tech industry here with NASA, which is one of the things that NASA spends a lot of time researching, is
Hmm.
climate change. Huntsville would be a perfect place to have those technologies come out of. But here's the caveat: like when you talk about clean energy, a lot of times like solar is the most practical. And if you look in Alabama right now, and this is a state level issue, but I found this out years ago, and I just couldn't believe this, but they actually charge you money to bank your power if you use solar. They actually charge you money. Yeah.
Really?
hmm
That
Yeah.
seems weird.
It's crazy. So it's
That's
actually more
weird.
expensive to have a solar. So yeah, there's challenges. There are impractical challenges to clean energy that can be dealt with in legislation. But yeah, like windmills surrounding Mar-a-Lago. I know he loves that.
I love that.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, driving the whales crazy. Maybe they'll
Oh,
come up with
man.
some.
That guy.
Yeah, this. Yeah, I hope that answered the question, Blue. I'm 100% in favor of blue, of green energy as the wave of the future of the new Green Deal per se.
Hmm.
Like that could revitalize American manufacturing in a way that could last with good
Definitely.
purpose.
Welcome up to the panel, JB. Thank you so much for coming up here, friend. What question do you have today?
So mine's going to be a little bit of a nuanced question because, as you know, I'm a postal worker,
Hmm.
and we were talking about healthcare. So something that a lot of Americans don't know is that the post office delivers more medicine than any other branch, like whether it's UPS, whether it's FedEx. And something that's happening, especially in Alabama, is closures of post offices. With that happening, there's a lot of people that won't have access to their meds because there won't be anybody going there to deliver it, especially in rural areas, even in like District 5, it's a rural area.
hmm
So what's happening is a lot of post offices are closing down and are going to force residents to have to travel 2 or 3 towns over to even get mail because they're going to stop delivering or they're going to get rid of the PO boxes in that post office and just demolish the post office. So my question is, with that going on, especially in a rural community like yours, would you be for getting together with other federal workers? I know that you've like on your platform it says it, but one big thing that I keep telling people is that especially in rural communities, everybody knows their mail carrier. So at least for me to get the word out, because a lot of people don't know, is what would you do for federal employees specifically for postal employees?
Yeah, sure. So most people don't know this about me, but I was actually a rural route carrier for a little while. I held 3 jobs down at one time when I got out of the military, and one of them was rural route carrier. I've always
So you
admired, yeah, I've always admired the postal service, and one of the things, actually, my main advisor on my campaign is a retired postmaster from a rural county here near Athens, I think Moulton. Um, so I have a big heart for the post office, and it was always the first target for Republicans. It felt like when it came to federal employees, um, and I never really understood why. To me, it seems like it's a basic service that a country should be able to provide for itself, and it was transformational for how our country interacted and got information. The postal service was and it's the essence of government service, right? Like some people want to talk about how is it profitable or not. It never really crosses my mind when we talk about running government. You shouldn't run your government as a business. So when we talk about healthcare, your question was specifically about the medicine that the post offices carry, and that rural communities are losing their post offices as much as they're. I mean, like you could just say this as a blanket statement, and I think most people would agree. Rural America is being left behind by Republicans and Democrats across the board. And it comes with, you start to see it, you start to notice it when you come to their basic services, right? Why don't enough people in this area, if you ever talk to Amanda Pluschek, she'll tell you District 4, where she's running, has like the least coverage of broadband services and utility. In my district, you know, what you're talking about, your question with the medicine, I think you have to have the Postal Service. I get my medicine from the VA through the Postal Service very regularly. And you're right, everybody knows their postal carrier. And it's, I think when you talk about healthcare for all, there has to be that part, right? That federal service on how you execute the medicine, that's part of the plan. So yeah, I would absolutely, if it hasn't already been done, I will remember this conversation when I get to Congress and say, look, healthcare for all, we got a lot of rural Americans that can't get their medicine. But part of my like pie in the sky thought is like you'll have clinics that open up, you'll bolster the economies in these small towns because they're going to have healthcare there, and they're not going to have to move and go to a different city and spend their money elsewhere, and get the care that they need locally. I think that would also incorporate postals, right? You'll see a growth in the postal service as well, because again, like you said, medicine needs to be delivered. I'm not trusting UPS or FedEx as much as I would my rural route carrier.
Yeah, and that's great that you actually kind of have a little bit of background. So, like one of the things, and this is something that I've suggested to every person that I've come across with, is get in contact with your local union for the post office, both the rural carriers and if they're city carriers.
Yeah.
The reasoning for that is because as much as I agree with you, and as much as I hate to say it, but the whole characteristic of the post office is being left behind by both Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and when I think about like government services, I typically think about the biggest impact they have is in those rural communities, those small towns, the ones that are detached. And so when people say that like government doesn't do nothing for me, that's what they're thinking most of the time, right? They're thinking about the post office being shut down. They're thinking about the DMV being shut down. They're thinking about, they're not, they're falling victim of this, and the government has it, and nobody's fighting for them. Right. And that's, and I'm glad you asked that question, because it's not something that I actually ever considered. I think most, but it's, once I got the information, I absorbed it and I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I get my medicine from there. So you can't have a rural health conversation without having a rural government service conversation as well. They kind of go hand in hand. And I agree. I would love, so my nonprofit for veterans, the guy that's the president of the Nashville chapter, someone's at my door at 6 o'clock. I don't know if you can hear the dogs barking, but
they're very excited.
But this, the president of that chapter in Nashville, he's actually a route carrier, and he's a member of the union as well. So I can connect with him, and I think that like I said, my campaign advisor, he would be easily tapped into who I need to talk to. So thanks for putting that bug in my ear, so I can have an even better conversation about healthcare and government services and the importance of the postal service. Are you kidding me? Like, Come on. I wanted to be a mailman growing up. Like, kids dress up as mailmen. Yeah.
On my route, I have so many little kids now, because like new families have finally moved in, and every day they're always like, "Oh, how you doing, Mr. Mailman?" Or they want to talk, or like it's a rewarding job, but it's a job that people like. Because that's the thing. I live in Indiana, so I'm in a remote state. And I try to explain to people like what's going on And the one thing that I can that I always tell them, I said, all that Amazon, all this stuff that you're getting, it all comes through us. Like, we deliver 65% of Amazon's packages.
And the last mile, right?
Yeah, the last mile. We're the last mile. We're the only people that deliver to 100% of the United States. I think Amazon only delivers to like 60%. UPS only delivers to like 50.
And
then
they won't go out to the towns that have 500 people.
No, I know
profitable. It's not profitable for them.
Yeah, they don't see it, but like when I've had conversations with people, specifically because you're a blue dot in a red state, kind of like myself, and most of these people, like, I agree with what you're saying when it comes to, like, when you talk to them and it's like they feel like no one's helping them. But like, one thing that I would suggest, and then I'll drop down so you guys can bring someone else up, is when you go to talk to these people specifically about healthcare, you have to explain to them that their state-funded insurance or healthcare that they have is Obamacare.
Yeah.
That's the ACA.
Yeah.
And when they hear that, then you can explain to them, like, hey, the big beautiful bill, them tax cuts, that's where those cuts are going. Like, they're taking away your state health insurance that's federally funded. Because I know I've had that conversation with a lot of people on my route, and now they're super scared. And a lot of them called their state representatives, and that's one reason why Indiana is a no-go for the redistricting thing right now. They don't have the votes.
Yeah, I think people here are awakening to that, right? Like, I think that I continue the conversation I had about Obamacare first, ACA, was with my red parents. They were MAGA voters, and I said, look, this was back in 2010. I said, you're going to be able to have health insurance now. They're small business owners. You're going to be able to have health insurance now that's not going to crush you. And I said, and you would have better health insurance if Tennessee would pass and actually take federal money, right? Take the subsidies, and they wouldn't. And so that's actually how I got my stepmom to start listening to more Democratic talking points. And now she's a staunch blue leftist, right? Like, anti-fascist leftist, right?
So
like,
jealous.
I know, it's crazy. I love my
to do with
stepmom.
mine.
Yeah. It just takes somebody who's willing to listen and the right messenger, like the postman or the postwoman. I mean, if you're talking politics to someone, that takes courage. Second, you know exactly what you're talking about, so that's great too. You built the rapport matters.
Yeah, delivery is a lot, because that's the thing. I cannot tell you how many, like, MAGA supporters are on my route that are no longer MAGA supporters after talking to me.
Okay.
Like, and that's where it starts. It just starts with them hearing a different opinion, because so many of those people, they're so entrenched, or like they just hang on every word. Yeah, until they hear somebody that's in their worldview that they deal with on a day-to-day basis goes, have you, like, questioned any of this? Like, that's what it takes. But you can't force someone to do that. Like you said, they have to be there.
Well, in PsyOp, like, the number one thing they teach you, if you don't learn anything else about PsyOp, it's like, there's two things, actually. One, the most effective way to do it is face-to-face. The most effective way to persuade, change, or influence is face-to-face. And the second most important thing is you have to have rapport. The more rapport you have, the more buy-in you have, the more trust you have with that person, the better your influence is going to be. And not saying you're going to win every fight, you're going to talk, but it takes practice, it takes time. So I actually want to commend you for having those conversations, like you said, WJB, because that's great. And you're having this one with me. And listen, I take something away from every conversation I have. So I appreciate you reaching out because, look, I'm running for Congress, but I don't have all the answers.
No one does.
I know that we got a mission and we need to finish it.
Yeah, and that's something that's like something when I learned in college from one of my philosophy teachers was that there's something to learn from every conversation that you have with a person, whether it's positive or negative. That's up to you.
You got to be willing to take something away. Or why are you having these conversations? Is it just to hear yourself talk, or are you bringing something with you? And typically the people like us who bring things away, have that open mind. They're still like, it's mission focused for me. I'm always thinking like, what am I going to take away from this conversation that's going to help me with my constituents, help me change this country, help me make a better future for people like Political Jess and you and my daughters who are growing up, my son who's grown up, because it's getting out of control.
In this world, in this crazy world. Yeah.
In this world. Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming up, JB.
No problem. You can drop me back down.
Awesome. I appreciate you. So we had a guest who was going to request up, but then I think he left. So before I bring on Alabama Progress, let me ask his question for him because I know what he's going to ask. His name is Bacon, and he is an immigrant, and he's also a member of the disabled community. And he asks, as he always does, what do you plan to do to help the disabled community in your district get better access to better paying jobs, get better access to better care, be treated more equally in the big scheme of things? Because right now they're being shit upon, for lack of a better term. And he would want to know, what do you plan to do about that?
Thanks for the question. You said his name was Bacon?
His name's that's his screen name. It's not really his name, but that's
okay.
He is 44. He voted for Kamala, and he lives in California. That's our friend Bacon.
Cool.
Yes.
No, great. So this attack on DEI, it wasn't lost on me that it was an attack on people with disabilities who are differently abled, and most of those protections exist for people like me, or for people like, your rights are my rights, are their rights. If there's an attack on one, it's an attack on all. That's how I view that.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it seem like it's such a inconvenience to install wheelchair ramps or make sure that there's ADA accessible buildings in your district. So this is the first time I've had this question, but thinking about it in my mind, it's I'm thinking about accessibility issues, the lack of interpretation when it comes to. Well, is that you?
TikTok is.
That's okay. No, that's a triggering.
In there, I know. It's like, oh my gosh.
That's the actual email from my work. That's my boss's. That's my boss's alert. So I'm starting to have flashbacks.
So you should change it to Darth Vader. That's what the thing is.
I know she's a great boss, but I'm just like, oh, I might need to check my email.
She found me. No.
No. When it comes to people with disabilities, no matter what they are, whether it's like vision impaired, hearing impaired, wheelchair accessible, ambulatory issues, or just, for example, PTSD, not being able to work in an office environment, but still wanting to contribute to society. There's no other way that I can advocate for folks like that better than having someone as a part of my team who can help me, right? Because I just admitted I don't have all the answers, and I'm very inexperienced with disability. But I know that in Alabama, we don't have a great habit of doing the right things for the right reasons, for legal reasons, whatever they may be. And I also know that in Alabama, we have a very disproportionate amount of folks who suffer from different disabilities. So I think it would behoove me to learn from this conversation and make a commitment that I'll have somebody on my team that's dedicated to that. I've had people reach out to me. It actually, so it's a pattern, right? It's people who have this concern are being very vocal right now, and it's not lost on me because they feel like they're under attack. And so I need to do a better job of making sure that I recognize that I hear you, I see you, and I want to help. So my pledge would be to bring someone onto my team that can help me address these issues more effectively rather than just wax poetically about what I think should be. I recognize that the problem is that I recognize that the community is under attack, that all the strides that we've made, as little as they are being attacked and undermined at every instance. And how to make it better is bring it back to where it was, and then let's improve. I'm all about human rights, and human rights on my platform includes rights for people who are disabled. Being an advocate for people who are disabled, I would have no problem being that. Very comfortable with that. And some people say like, well, there's too many things at once. That's my job, is to advocate for people, no matter their background, no matter their political spectrum, no matter the challenges that they're having, what their pay scale is, insured, not insured, documented, undocumented, citizen, not citizen. My job is to advocate for people, so I pledge that I will. And that's an area where I should focus.
I think it's not just the disabled community, it's the LGBTQ community, it's the trans community, it's the marginalized, it's people of color, it's women, ugh.
Anybody who doesn't look like me, who's not a straight white Christian man.
The camel hurts, man. It hurts real bad. The camel's very painful. So, yes. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming onto our show. I want you to stick around for a little bit because I'm going to bring up an amazing group in just a second as we switch gears into our Activist Alley section of the show. And what we do here is at about 7:20-ish. We don't really have a hard stop on it. We've 7:20-ish. We bring in an amazing mover and shaker, ideally from the same area as our candidate. Doesn't always work out that way, but definitely somebody who is helping make things better for people in Alabama. And tonight is all about Alabama. I'm so excited to bring up an amazing group that I totally admire what you guys doing in your mission and everything. And I want you to talk more about it. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alabama Progress.
Oh, you could have left me in a little box. I'm not a camera person. That kind of defeats the point of representing the community if community has a single face.
That is totally fine. We're just going to leave your lovely background on here so people know who you are talking about. So you don't have to be on camera. That's fine. That's fine.
Who gets to take credit for that background? Because I would like that person to be credited.
I mean,
it wouldn't.
The K-Law is my graphics genie. She's incredible, amazing, wonderful. And the cool thing about this background is that when you guys leave this live, you can take this background and apply it in any other Zoom calls that you have or any other events that you have. You could just pop that sucker right back there. People know exactly who you are and what you're standing for. So there you go. Our gift to you.
That is amazing. Thank you. It is much appreciated. And I can say that for the whole 700-person strong community.
Yes. Amazing.
All right. So what's the premise? What's the question here?
I want to know what your mission is. So you could tell people a little bit about what your mission is, how it got started, okay? And where do you see Alabama Progress going in the future? Despite, fascist behavior from our feral government.
Okay, so the thing about it, right, is when you look at anything, right, whether you are doing mutual aid, a brake light clinic, or you are participating in your county party, or you're going to go vote, people are at the center of everything. Because people are the ones with the dollars, people are the ones with the hands to do the work, people are the ones with the resources, people are the ones with the knowledge. So if you don't have people, you don't have anything.
Mm-hmm.
So Alabama Progress is centered around creating a community for people. Now, oftentimes our community members create their own little projects, and then they can dip into the pool of the community to see those projects done. Now, obviously, we do things like hold candidate forums and, what have you, some harebrained public ideas sometimes, but to help, there again, draw people into community, to activate people, to encourage them to care, to participate, to get involved. That is the whole point of it. Like, our mission is centered around getting people activated, because oftentimes people go to things like protests, right? And they're like, yeah, that was awesome. There's so many people here. Now what?
Yeah.
Alabama Alabama Progress answers the question of yes, and you did this, now what? And we help people get connected to their local most thing, or
Mm-hmm.
here's somebody who lives in your county who you can be a friend to. We help people set up like starter packs, like coffee meetups, where people can go and get to know each other as people before working together as activists. It's all about setting things in motion, and then much like a toddler on a trike, you let go of the handlebars and you let people do their own thing and create their own thing. You're just there to help them get started and give them a safe space to get started. That is the point and the purpose ultimately. As far as the history goes, I sat with this for years because I saw so many people going, I feel very alone. I'm by myself and my beliefs and my thoughts. And I just thought, that can't possibly be true. That can't be it. I'm just, a feeling in my gut said that is not possible. There's not like one person who believes this way per county in Alabama. No way. And then when I got to talking to people about, that issue and that belief, I'm like, well, what keeps you from doing things besides other people? Like, well, money, right? Or I can't log volunteer hours. I've got like 3 spare minutes a day. And it was a lot of like that. Or I'm disabled, right? Like I'm in a wheelchair. I can't go places. So I was like, you know what? These are barriers. And we're going to tear them all down. We're not going to deal in money. We're not going to log volunteer hours. We're not going to, keep track of this, that, and the other. You come and you participate as you can, as you're able, with what you can bring to the table. Just come here, do your best.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I ask, is to come, just to show up and do what you can, what you're able. And that's just it. And I mean, I rolled around for years and years and years, and to unfortunately quote the really sad movie Logan, when that those people were stranded on the side of the road, right? Logan says, someone will come along. And the professor says, someone has come along.
Did we
Yes,
people?
and I knew
That movie.
I knew that my years of waiting were over because I was the person that I was waiting on. And so I just kicked it off and hoped for the best. And let me tell you, I remember getting 24 people in the door, and I was so excited because I was like, oh my goodness, 24 people. And now we're, at 700. And I couldn't have fathomed it in a million years. And what we will become in the future is hopefully a place where even if Alabama flipped full throttle, blew up and down the whole scope, 52,000 square miles, isn't it? Acres, something like that. We would be there to be like, hey, you said you were going to do this. Do it. Do it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, we are going to call you out. Why? Because Alabama Progress is not beholden to the establishment. We're not beholden to anyone. And because we don't deal in money, we're not beholden to money. It is all about principle. So even if Alabama flips full throttle, we will be there to hold feet to the fire all day long for as long as it takes.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my bit on
I
that.
completely agree with that. I think that even after the midterms, like I was telling my team, after the midterms is over, our job is not done. Like this isn't just going to go away. Like we have so much work to do still. So I so much appreciate that you are in that fight with us. The K-Law says you have a voice for audiobooks. So if you haven't checked out voice acting, definitely something you should look into. You got a gift, my friend. So
Thank you.
yeah, I think that that's great. So you've worked with Jeremy
Indeed.
before. Have you worked with Amanda as well?
A little bit, not fully in like an entire capacity. It's been kind of touch and go help here and there with little odd and end things, but yes.
What about Robert Hunter? Have you worked with him at all?
Yes, we we have touched base and we've helped. He's, I hope I'm not throwing him under the bus here, but he is a member of Alabama Progress as well. So we have touched base, had discussions about, growth and policy and ideas and ways forward and what have you. So yeah,
He's going to be on our show next month. So definitely
exciting.
lots of love for Alabama here. And of course, you are welcome to come back. I would love to have you back on to talk about things that are important for you guys. So tell me, what is your number one issue? If fascism weren't rearing its ugly head here, right? What is the number one thing that you want to see for your neighbors as
To
far as
see
policy goes?
mine. So, that's so hard because I'm a thinking person,
You have to
but
pick
I
your
want
favorite kid.
Oh God, that is no fun. I want to have
Nope.
my I want to eat it too. Let me do both. No, no. I just because it really is a toss up between the environment and healthcare. Because the environment was one of the first things I noted as a child. Mommy was their trash on the side of the road. So that's been an issue that's been near and dear to me to a long time.
Mhm.
But later in life, I watched a lot of my family members get sick with cancer. Uh, so they're both on equal footing for very different reasons. So I'd have a hard time picking between one. So I'll tell you what, I will let you pick between those two. Which one?
Boy, between healthcare and the environment? I mean, aren't they
Yes.
interlinked? They're interlinked, right?
Inherently, yes.
Yeah, if your environment sucks, then your health is going to suffer. It
That's
seems
a
like a
fact.
no-brainer to me.
My friend Donnie, if I may, he talks a lot about that. He's actually written about this a lot. He's a professor at the University of Austin, Texas. And yeah, it's about the environmental impacts on healthcare. I think you would be right. Yes, like those are very closely related, especially when you talk about factories and pollution and the chemicals that leach into our environment through that. 100%.
Yeah,
Fact.
facts, no lies detected. Yes, awesome. So tell me how, if people want to get involved to assist Alabama Progress in amplifying your message, what can they do?
Well, you can visit our website at uh, www.alabamaprogress.org, or you can just shoot on over to our TikTok page and take a look at the link there, or you can find us on Blue Sky, you can find us on Reddit, and I think that's all the places we are currently.
Have you worked with other organizations that are also like-minded?
So like-minded, yeah, I would say like-minded in the manner that, we do try to help and uplift local party chapters. We have done work with the Alabama 5051. Uh, we have done work, well, not work. We have done formational work with the North Alabama Spokes Council. We have assisted the Alabama Democratic Socialists of America with getting new chapters started. Yeah, we've touched a few bases with a few different organizations.
It sounds like it. That's really great, though. That's amazing. So I've been working with an organization called Blue Sue. That's BLUTSU.org. And they've been really passionate about getting people involved in phone banking, things that, Jeremy is probably going to need at some point. Yes.
Yeah.
They're an incredible organization. And if you have people who want to get involved, but they just don't know quite what to do, I always tell people that's a great place to start. So, yeah, I think that we're in a very, strange time for activism right now. We're being labeled as a T group and we're being labeled as left lunatics, et cetera, et cetera. None of which is true. But I think it definitely helps to have organizations like yours and voices like yours, Jeremy, that kind of like show a more reasonable narrative, right? So thank you guys for that. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Is
You're
there
welcome.
anything else that you want to share with the audience before we close out for the night?
I would like to say just one simple thing. You know, Alabama Progress is about Alabama, but there is nothing stopping anyone here from starting something just like it in your neck of the woods. And there's no reason not to, because silence is complacency. And there are no barriers except for the ones that we create for ourselves. If you want to fight fascism, if you want to fight tyranny, all you simply have to do is take the first but hardest step. The rest is a cakewalk.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. And just a reminder to everybody too, America has done such a fabulous job of building ourselves into our own little silos. And if it doesn't affect our immediate family, maybe a friend or two at work, maybe a neighbor, then our blinders are on. We don't see it, we don't hear about it. It doesn't impact us at all. We've lost the fundamental principle of community as Americans. And that sucks for us, but it's not too late, and we can get that back. If we just recognize that we are in a silo and get out of that silo and go talk to your neighbors and go talk to, people who don't have necessarily the same points of view that you do. Community is so very important right now, and it's the only way we're going to get through this. So that's my 2 cents. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you both so much for coming on to the show. Alabama Progress, welcome anytime. You will always have a space here. And the same with you, Jeremy. You guys are fantastic.
Come by some.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And if you want to get into voice acting, you just let me, I'm a voice actor. I could help you out. You just let me know. I can help you. Okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
Just saying, sometimes you just need a little change of pace.
Hey,
That's
Blue,
all I'm
Blue Horizon also has a great voice. I told her
Do they
she could
really?
read Audible. Oh yeah.
Hey, we could start like our own little thing here. It's
You
great.
could have a whole you could have a whole little union of folks that do voice
We
acting.
could do anti-fascist commercials. It would be great.
Ooh,
Yes,
I would listen to this.
we could do that. It'd be awesome. Tonight on It Takes a Village. I'm just kidding. So thank you guys so much for coming on to the show. It was a fantastic conversation with a couple of fantastic dudes. So thank you so much for that. We're getting close to time here, folks. So before I go, I would like to give Jeremy the floor here to tell folks how they can get involved with your campaign. How can they support you? And make sure everybody has the opportunity to click that follow button so y'all can push out his, his message.
Sure. So thank you so much for having me on. And amongst great company as always. I love you guys so much. If you want to support my campaign, you can go to jeremytakesthehouse.org. Jeremytakesthehouse.org, because we're not asking anymore, we're taking it. Let me be your voice in Congress, all right? And if you live in a blue state and you're listening to this message right now and you feel comfortable, but you want to see this country on a different trajectory, please get involved with my campaign. Go to jeremytakesthehouse.org. You can volunteer your time. I've got a list of volunteers. We're waiting to phone bang, like she said. You can donate your money. Your money would allow me to pay some folks on my campaign and pay for some of the materials that I need. I don't have any paid positions right now, so
That's right.
it's all small dollar. And this is going to take. I'm in a primary fight right now, so not a fight, but like it's a primary, and I am the most progressive candidate by far. I'm not playing the middle here and trying to touch base with all these crazy things. So I could really use the likes. Your time is just as important as any money you donate, and everything is important at this point. We're at 5 alarm fire. Been living in a sense of urgency since I was in my teens with wars and and financial crises, and now we've got 2 Trump terms. So let's get this country back on track, and political justice, allowing that platform. I appreciate you guys so much.
Of course. CK wants to know, Jeremy, it was nice to meet you in Huntsville this weekend. Where can we get yard signs?
Oh, yard signs are coming. I'm being very strategic about how I spend my money. We've raised about $10,000. I'm happy to say that, actually more than that now, but got more donors than anybody else in the primary right now. So that's a big deal for me. But I have to be strategic about the yard signs because they do cost. So I looked at some yesterday that were union printed. They come from Prattville. To be determined. But if you want a yard sign, yeah, TBD. I'm probably going to roll those out in January, February timeframe, honestly, because I want them to be out for the primary.
Awesome. Yes, that would be fantastic. And when is your primary? Can you remind us?
May 19th. I need you to vote in May 19th, so you can get a real progressive on the ticket. There are establishment candidates out there. There are folks. We've got 3 to choose from right now. I don't want to do their work for them, but very different. All 3 of us are very different. There's an establishment person. There's someone who's very policy oriented, and I'm just more of a, progressive. Let's just do the things that we've been talking about for a long time. Let's fight for human rights. Let's fight for housing. Let's fight for healthcare. Let's hold these fascists accountable. Let's stop this fascist government in its tracks. Put me in, coach. I'm ready to play.
Love it. When is early voting in Alabama?
Oh, I don't know. It's very, very restricted. It's very restricted. I'll tell you that much.
You might not have early voting. I'm just saying.
I don't know that. We do have it, but I think it's only like a week.
Yeah, it's not great in Texas here either.
That's
I'm
right.
just saying.
The
It's not great
fighting
here.
5th district. That's right. I coined that phrase and I love it. And people love it. The fighting 5th district in Alabama.
That's
Everybody
amazing.
considers it a purple district. It's a blue district. We just need somebody. I'm hoping that I can be the guy that gets people inspired to vote.
I think you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
If I lived there, I would vote for you. But I live in Texas, and they need my vote. They need my vote here desperately. So,
Absolutely. What district are you in?
I'm in District 12.
And who's
that Craig Goldman.
Okay.
Eh.
Do you know Isaiah Martin?
I do. He's not in my district though, but I like him. He's great. No,
Awesome.
Kenneth Morgan Aguilera is running against Craig Goldman in my district,
Okay.
and he's going to be great. Craig Goldman's a very established Republican with lots and lots and lots of money who never has had a town hall. Don't do that, by the way. He's never had a town hall.
That seems like everybody's Republican.
Yeah, he doesn't ever care. He doesn't care about the people. So don't be like him. And I
No.
don't think you're going to be. I think you're going to be great. I would like to remind people that you need to go and get registered to vote. If you are not registered to vote, you can check your voter registration status by going to vote.gov. It might be too late for you to get registered for this coming election in November. Depending on where you are, some states allow like same-day registration. That would be nice if we could do that countrywide, but alas, here we are. Let's fix that, by the way. Can we go to Congress and fix that, Jeremy? Can we go to Congress and fix
voting?
it so that all of the rules are the same no matter what state you're in? That would be great.
No, we can do that. It makes perfect sense. We can do
yeah.
that. There's no reason why we shouldn't.
There's no
Voting
reason.
is one of those. That's a big side quest of mine. And like people always ask me this, like, hey, how do you feel about term limits? Term limits are absolutely, I support them, but I would hope that we would prioritize actually getting people the ability to vote, because that is the true term limit there. Term limits would have kept us from having folks like Bernie Sanders doing the work that he's doing right now. And I know that's the only case, but like I'm just saying, you want real term limits, you need to work on reforming voting.
1,000%. 1,000%. This is just a reminder to folks, it is no secret how we feel about big money in politics. We want candidates who are going to serve the people and not special interests, but that money has to come from somewhere. So whether it's your time or your wallet, even a follow sharing their content gets more eyes on them and pushes their message across Beyonce's internet. And you can do that for free, folks. Buy Jeremy a cup of coffee or a yard sign. Like, that'd be great. Do that. All their information is right there. Yes. So thank you so much for coming on to the show tonight. I would be absolutely remiss if I didn't send a special thanks to the content creators who are here tonight to support us, as well as our incredible design genie, the K-Law. Send some waves, some red hearts or something in the chat there, the K-Law, so people can follow you and, help you out. If you guys are not following Alabama Progress or Jeremy Devito, Jeremy Takes the House, you should definitely hit that little plus sign and do that now. This show is an amazing adventure, and it's not about me or K-Law. The show is about all of us coming together to bring positive change, so that all the things that we mentioned above for Jeremy here, please, also do that for us, like and follow and get us across Beyonce's internet, please. We are still a baby endeavor, and we're doing everything we can to grow our presence so, we can help as many grassroots candidates as possible. It really does take a village, and we need every single one of you. So also, make sure you're still registered to vote, as I said earlier, and keep an eye on the election schedules in your area. You can check your registration, again, by going to vote.gov, and I never ever thought I would have to say this, but for the love of Pete, you're going to have to follow your choice after you mark that box to make sure that your vote was counted as intended. I never thought I would have to say that, but here we are. Hello, Fabulous Finds. Yes, so that is where we are. This was incredibly inspiring, and I know we have a whole lot of folks out there who are just absolutely terrified, and with just cause. But I want to remind everybody, the fear is the point. The fear and the cruelty that is the point, because fear leads to panic. Panic leads to inaction, and that is what they want. And I will be goddamned. Okay. Hope and community are the antidote for all of it. So we have to stick together, and we have to take care of each other. And that is where we are. I just want to remind everybody, a little programming note here, that there is no show on Friday. Why is there no show on Friday? Because I have a little kid, and it's Halloween. And I have a lot of friends who are dressing up as handmaids, but I will be damned if I'm going to put that shit on. So I'm wearing my Xena costume, and I'm going to have... I gotta do it. I'm gonna stuff all of this fluff into a whole bunch of latex, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be fabulous. I will take pictures. Y'all are gonna really enjoy it. It's gonna be great. So no show on Friday, but on Monday, join us, because we have an amazing candidate from Idaho joining us on the 3rd, and we also may have some, special little announcements that we get to share with you guys that we've been working on for a while. So join us. It's going to be great. Be sure to follow us on Substack, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the Tube of You. And if I could make a quick plea, we would absolutely love it if you would just pop right on over there and leave us a little review. It would really help us get more eyes on our content. Also, have you heard of the People's Sick Day, Jeremy? Yes?
Is that the work stoppage blackout?
Yes, but they've chosen their dates. They're working in conjunction with the national blackout that is happening November 25th through December 2nd. So just so you know, put that in your calendars. They're doing a whole economic and labor blackout. It's going to be an amazing thing to behold. We're all going to come together and stick it to the man. So I'm going to stick him to him good.
I love it. That's the power. Power
yes.
of the people.
Power of the people. Thank you all so much for coming tonight. I'm so sorry for running over a little bit. You guys are amazing. And that's all we got. So take care of each other. We'll see you next time. Enjoy the night. Take care, everybody.
It takes a village, because for all means for all. Together we'll break